Okay. So you guys have been talking about energy sources, and all that stuff. So this is probably just going to be a little bit of a review for you. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go through some different energy sources and talk about the pros and cons of them. And I'm going to hand out this little graphic organizer that I made. So can anybody, let's see, I guess we have them all around the room, which is pretty handy. These pass out, and then I'll give you guys some instructions. We'll go from there. Yes, what?
This is right. Or this should be that.
All right. So let's take a few seconds and name off some of the energy sources we've been discussing.
Coal.
Coal. That's a good one. Oh, that thing's dead. You got any of that?
Try that black one right there.
Okay. So we have coal. Excuse my handwriting. It's horrible.
Oil.
Oil. Pretty good one.
Water.
What's up? The water.
Wind.
Hydropower. There you go. Oh, very close. I was picking on you there. Hydropower.
What's the difference?
Between what?
Hydropower and hydroelectric.
The same thing. Yeah. Different words for the same thing. Solar? Who said solar? That's a great one. If you really think about it, all of the power on our planet comes from solar power in a weird way, because that's our only energy source. That might be a little bit higher, but like even your fossil fuels that you have, that's compact solar power. In a sense. Solar power. Nuclear, that's a big one. And one other one I'm specifically thinking of, especially here in Kansas. Wind, yes. I didn't put enough spaces on there, I realized. Just you can put it at the bottom, underneath. All right. So, which one of these is the best?
Wind.
Wind?
Solar.
Hydro. Why? Why is wind the best? Who said wind? You said wind? Why is wind the best?
Because it's all over.
It's all over?
Yeah.
So it's constant?
Yeah.
No, it's not constant.
It's not constant? Renewable.
It's really renewable.
It's renewable, okay. Let me make my pros and cons here, just like you guys have on your sheet. Pro, con, I'm gonna run out of room. It's okay. Pro, con. So this is called by the way, this is called a matrix. What you guys have and what I'm making are called matrix. It's a graphic organizer. And I spent too much room on my names and not enough on my pros and cons.
Why is it called matrix?
Okay. So what was it for wind?
It's renewable.
Renewable. Thank you. Pro is renewable. Who said solar? Who Just solar. Is the best one? Why do you say solar is the best?
It's the best one.
Or why do you think it's good? It's renewable as well? Yeah, that's very true. As long as the sun is shining. It's also.
Mr. Irv, you could erase that stuff from that calendar.
Okay, I might have to do that. What about nuclear?
So it's harmful to the atmosphere.
Not as harmful, that's right. Doesn't pollute near as much. Not as much pollution, but not as much. That is bad grammar, not as pollution.
It's cheap after you got it spending.
Yeah. So the startup cost is a lot. So maybe that could be a con. Startup cost is high, but once it's going. So I just put an arrow with high money startup, but cheap when it goes, when it's going. Cheap after it's started. Can you guys read this at all?
No.
What's the con?
Sorry.
The con, a lot of money to
Yours
start.
is better.
What's up?
The con on nuclear.
Is that it's a high, the con is that it's a high startup cost. Because a nuclear facility is a humongous facility. It has to have a water source. You gotta have uranium. Let's see, what about,
Angela. Let me get that one here once.
what's this for me? You got one for the whole class? Alright. What is a benefit of oil?
Gasoline for cars.
Yeah, it produces lots of things, like you guys mentioned on your,
We can find it.
It's used for a lot.
yeah, it has,
For TV
it's
is
very
what it
diverse,
is.
it's multiple uses. For that, multiple uses.
Hard to find. Could be one, it's hard to find.
It's getting harder to find, no doubt. You know what they used to call oil? Is, I believe they used to call it black water.
Black gold.
So back when the settlers were moving from the East Coast to the West Coast, and the whole 49ers and the Californians and everybody going out west, they were looking for water because at the time nothing ran on oil. Some things did, but nothing to really worry about it. And so when they would dig in the ground and try to find water, they'd find oil. And they'd, well, you found oil again. Nowadays, if you found oil on your land, you'd be extremely wealthy. Back then, it was seen as a hassle because nobody used it. So it was everywhere, and it's not like that anymore. Nowadays, we have to do things like fracking to find oil. What else about oil? What else is a bad thing about oil?
It could pollute the water.
Pollution? Sure. Got it. What about availability? Is it forever? Is it finite or infinite? Non-renewable? And what do we mean when we say that? Because oil, technically,
You can't create it.
we can't create it, but nature creates it.
But it's gonna take so long to
There you go.
get it.
It's going to take so long for oil to recreate itself that we might as well consider it
Not
a
renewable.
finite resource. Yeah, slow replenish. That's the word I'm looking for. About hydropower, I didn't say anything for that.
Clean.
It's clean, yes. What do you have to run hydropower?
The dam.
You have to have a dam, and what else?
Water.
You have a water source. Well, have you guys talked about damming rivers? Some?
It's harmful to like things that are like animals and stuff.
Yeah. Fish that rely on migration, some types of salmon, they go upstream instead of downstream,
Because it's blocked.
cut them off. So it has environmental hydropower. It's clean, it doesn't pollute, but it has environmental impacts. What else? Yeah.
What does that say on oil slow what?
I am so sorry, guys.
Replenish.
Looking at this now, it's like, how do you read this? Slow replenishment underneath oil, and that is, we'll get to that one. You got anything for coal? Pollution. Coal is a heavy polluter. Heavy. See, this is why they have us student teachers do this. It's for practice, you know. This is practice for me. I come in, my subjects are huge and my information's tiny. So next time I know to reverse that. Let's see, what else we got? Oh, one other thing I was going to talk about with hydropower, and I've always found this one interesting, is that part of what makes our soil fertile and makes plants be able to grow is that rivers bring sediment down the river and deposit it throughout over time, not all at once. But when we make dams, basically we stop that flow of sediment and nutrition, and it can have negative effects on farming and on agriculture. That's a side point. You don't have to remember that. What about coal? What's a good thing about coal?
There's a lot of it.
There's a lot of it. Yeah. And it's a good bang for its buck. You know, it has how we use it, it produces a lot of energy. Abundant. It's a good word. I still need a con for wind power.
Not happening all the time.
What's that?
All the time.
Doesn't happen, so it can't, it's not constant.
Same thing for solar and it has lower energy.
What was that?
For solar, it doesn't like produce like a lot of energy.
That is the biggest, for sure. Good answer. That is the biggest problem with wind power and solar and hydropower. They all produce energy. They're all renewable. They're all clean. They don't produce a lot of energy. So low energy production.
What about the biofuels? Are you not talking about that?
We can. I know you guys don't have your room for it. What's some? Yeah, we can do biofuels. Here, let's do this the right way. Bio. Pros and cons. Goods and bads. It's natural. Natural processes. Natural. Can you see that still? Is this thing in your? Yeah, it's probably in your way.
Bet you could put these on the back of that paper.
Yeah, if you ran out of room, feel free to put on the back. Thank you. What do we say? What do we mean when we say biofuel?
Like, plants
Leftovers.
It's from the earth.
Environment.
But what's happening?
alive.
A dead waste.
Sorry, you're on the right track.
When the animals die, they produce fuel.
No, they're oil.
What was that?
They're oil, like the oil fluids basically come
That's right. What's the? I'm thinking of one specific word that organic things do when they die.
out. Decapitate. No.
Decapitate.
Decomposing.
They might decapitate. Decompose. They decompose. So biofuel runs on decomposing organic matter.
It takes a while.
Yeah, it takes a while. But things are always decomposing. Things are always dying and things are always living, and that's the, circle of life that I learned about in The Lion King when I was a kid. Anybody watch The Lion King?
Yeah.
I think everyone.
So it is the organic material. What would be a bad thing about biofuel?
You have to have a lot of it to make a little bit of energy.
That's right. You have to have a lot. For a while, you guys know the singer Willie Nelson?
Yeah.
Anybody? Yeah, she does. He's a country singer, and he really pushed for like all cars to run on ethanol from corn. Like he wants everyone's car to run on ethanol, because if we make enough corn, you can turn it into ethanol, and it will run your car. However, the amount of land that would require all of the cars to run on ethanol is stupendous, and we would have to have like a whole separate earth just making corn.
You can't grow corn everywhere.
You can't grow corn everywhere, that's right. That's a very good point. Corn requires, especially the corn we eat, requires a huge amount of fertilizer, a huge amount of water. You think about corn you buy in the store, it's like this big. Corn, before we started using it in agriculture, was about the size of your peanut. It was more focused, its energy, on reproduction, on fighting off pests, other animals, other plants.
Corn wasn't even that big.
Corn was tiny, and now it's huge because we focused all of its power, all of its energy into the food part of it. Life is a nerd. So yeah, it doesn't produce a lot of power. Low production. Let's see, do we have anything? Oh, I think that's. What about, there's one other con on nuclear.
If it was,
Nuclear waste.
yeah.
Nuclear waste, that's part of it. What's the other part? Disposal.
We can't get rid of,
Yeah, what do we do with it?
put it, separate out, I think.
Green ball.
As of now, we put it, well, not the used stuff. It takes uranium to make a nuclear warhead, but depleted uranium we can't use for bombs. Disposal is a humongous problem. What do you do with it?
So we're like
Ground, like really deep.
dump it on some empty
You just
land or
throw
like,
it in
What was
there.
that?
don't we dump it on empty land or like dirt?
We don't dump it, but we store it in it.
Oh.
Just bury it.
Bury it. So why don't we just build a rocket and send it up in a rocket? Up into space, it'll be gone forever. We'd never see it again.
That's really expensive.
That'd be expensive to build a
Well, that'd be
rocket system.
expensive.
Wow, if it
Expensive.
goes bad and just crashes and.
That's the main concern we don't. Because what if that rocket crashes and we're gonna spread like nuclear waste over a pretty good sized area? One other problem with nuclear is, ever heard of Chernobyl?
Hardly known what it
It's a power plant in Russia? Russia? I think Russia that had a meltdown. So nuclear power plants can melt down, and when they do, it's a problem.
That was Chernobyl, wasn't it?
Yeah, Chernobyl.
Doesn't Homer Simpson look at it?
He does. That's why they're the,
Don't they have like knockdowns like all the time?
I'm sure with Homer or anything happens, yeah. I was thinking of, when I said nuclear, lots of people say nuclear. Technically, it's nuclear. So what's the, for our future, and you guys' future especially, us young people, what's the magic bullet? What's the thing that's gonna save us? Not that we're needing to be saved, but energy concerns are gonna be a problem in the future, no doubt.
Solar.
Solar and nuclear?
Oh, it's solar and
You think solar and what?
hydropower.
But they don't produce much, and we have more people coming in. Our population of the planet's expanding.
We can't find a way to speed up the process for biofuels and
speed up decomposition, really. I mean, any energy you put into speeding up, you're not going to get out. It wouldn't be worth it. Well, I want you to, not really, there's no really any good answer, but it's going to take everything. There's no magic bullet. There's one, but we haven't gotten to it yet. But it's going to take everything to make us have a sustainable, let us have a sustainable energy future. And the one magic bullet that I was talking about is called nuclear fission. So your nuclear power plant relies on nuclear fusion. Fission is what the sun runs on. I'm doing that right. Switch them, fusion, sorry. Your power plant relies on fusion. Fission is what the sun runs on. Nuclear fission. So this is nuclear fusion.
Actually, it's the other way.
Which
You
way am I
said
doing
it
it?
the same way twice.
I did?
Yeah, she says switching, you said it.
See, that just shows what I know about this. That's what I thought. 'Cause
Fusion
fission
is when
is
they fuse together.
splitting, yeah.
Fusion is the split part.
So nuclear plants rely on fission. The sun relies on fusion. Basically, if we could contain, fusion produces an enormous amount of power. If we could only contain it somehow, it would solve our energy problems forever.
What happens if it like breaks out or gets loose or something? Like where would that energy
Yeah, that'd be bad. Because what is energy? I mean, energy is heat, right? I mean, it would, yeah, that's why the sun's so hot, it burns up. So, yeah, that's, we covered everything. You have anything to add?
You're fine.
That's good, thank you. That was a good review. You guys can keep that for your own review too.
You don't need that for your class.
Hmm?
You don't need it samples for your class review.
Nope.
Where's that for Apple?
What?
Make my Apple.
Yes, sure. So make your whole lesson to eat
Thank
for
you.
Apple. Okay, so what I want you to do with this time, you have about an hour. Who is not done with all those wonderful things that I listed that you need to have done?
I just got the,
Everybody needs at least a little time, right?
I got the notes.